You walk up to your car, you press a button. The locks thump open from across the parking lot. No wire, no key turned in a slot. Just a small plastic fob in your pocket, talking to a machine that weighs 2 tons. How does the car know it is you, and not the identical fob 3 cars down? Let us slice the signal open and watch the whole conversation, step by step. A car lock has a hard job. It must open for one person and stay shut for everyone else. An old metal key solved this with shape, the right cuts, the right grooves, and the bolt turns. But a fob sends no shape. It sends radio waves, and radio waves spill out in every direction. Anyone standing nearby could listen in. So the real trick is not sending a signal, it is sending a secret that only your car will believe. Crack the fob open and it is almost empty. A coin battery, thin as a button, a soft rubber pad under each key, a tiny circuit board with a single chip, the size of a grain of rice, and a loop of wire printed along the edge, the antenna. That chip holds 2 things that matter: a unique identity number burned in at the factory, and a secret key, a long string of bits that the chip will never speak out loud. You press the unlock button. The rubber pad bridges 2 contacts, and the chip wakes from sleep. It has been waiting, drawing almost nothing, for months on end. Now it has work to do. It reads which button you pressed: lock, unlock, or trunk. It pulls its identity number from memory, and it reaches for a small counter, a number that climbs by 1 every single time you press. That counter is about to become the heart of the whole trick. The chip builds a short message and hands it to the antenna. The antenna pushes it out as a radio wave, usually near 315 or 433 megahertz, depending on your country. These are UHF waves, short and weak on purpose. They carry only a few meters, just far enough to reach your car, not the whole street. The message leaves the fob in a burst that lasts only a small fraction of a second. Here is what surprises people. The fob does not simply shout open. If it did, anyone with a radio could record that shout and replay it later. Instead, the message carries 3 pieces: the fob's identity, so the car knows who is calling; the command, lock or unlock; and a code, scrambled fresh for this one press. That last piece is what makes a stolen recording useless. Each press sounds different, even when you ask for the very same thing. This is the rolling code. Remember that counter inside the fob, the number that climbs with every press. The fob feeds the counter and its secret key into a scrambling formula. Out comes a code that looks like pure noise. Press again, the counter is higher, and the code is completely different. There is no pattern an eavesdropper can follow. The same button, pressed twice, never sends the same code twice. The signal is always moving forward, never repeating. But scrambled noise is useless unless the car can unscramble it. So the car was let in on the secret long ago, back when the fob was first paired to it. The car holds the same secret key and a copy of the counter. When the message arrives, the car runs the same formula on its own counter. If its result matches the code in the message, the math could only have come from a fob that already knows the secret. So the receiver in the car listens. It catches the burst, reads the identity, and asks one question: is this a fob I have been paired with? If yes, it pulls that fob's secret key and counter from memory. It computes the code it expects to see. Then it compares, bit for bit, against the code that just arrived. A match means trust, a mismatch means silence. The doors do not move, and nothing on the dashboard blinks. There is one catch. You sometimes press the button in your pocket by accident, far away from the car. Now the fob's counter is ahead of the car's, so the car does not demand an exact match. It accepts any counter a little higher than the last one, inside a forward window. Higher, but never the same as before, and never lower. That is why a recorded code, replayed an hour later, falls behind the window and is simply thrown away. Unlocking is only half the job. Starting the engine asks for a second proof. Buried in the key is a tiny chip with no battery at all, the transponder. When it sits near the ignition, a coil in the car sends out a pulse of energy. That pulse powers the chip just long enough for it to whisper its own coded answer. No valid answer, no fuel, no spark. The engine stays dead, even if the door is wide open. So follow the chain. You press the button and the sleeping chip wakes. It reads the command and bumps its counter. It scrambles the counter with its secret key into a rolling code. The antenna sends identity, command, and code as a weak radio burst. The car catches it, checks the identity, and recomputes the code. A match inside the forward window opens the locks, and near the ignition, the transponder proves itself once more before the engine will run. A button, a secret, and a number that never stops climbing. That is how a $2 fob keeps a 2-ton machine honest. No metal cuts, no grooves, just a fresh code for every press and a car patient enough to check it. Next time the locks thump open from across the lot, you will hear the quiet conversation behind it. Thanks for watching the Cutaway. Press the button again and the whole dance starts over.